This is Life Body Business Impact with Fatima. Welcome friends, I am so grateful to have you here. I'm your host, Fatima Ingles, fitness expert, best-selling author, lifestyle entrepreneur, founder of the Life Body Business Fit Systems and co-founder of the amazing Freedom Retreats. My mission is to positively impact 10 million lives, to inspire you to wake up and live from your bucket list of dreams instead of waking up one day with a bucket list of regrets. Get ready to be inspired with weekly episodes and interviews that disrupt your thinking and motivate you to build your best life, body, and business. To change one life is to change many, so come with me now and let's get started with yours. Hey guys, welcome to this episode. This episode is a little bit different to usual because a shoe is on the other foot for me. I'm being interviewed by model, actor, and global nutrition organization owner Chris Connell from the USA. This interview happened some months before I actually started my podcast. Chris contacted me and asked if he could interview me for his nutrition organization team, and I agreed. So we talked about several things, including brand, living life with purpose and passion, the terror barrier, what it is, roadblocks, how to push through them, discovering your brand, and the fact that the entrepreneurship journey is not pretty, but it is absolutely worth it, as well as the important questions that you need to ask yourself to work out what it is that you're wanting to do and achieve, basically to work out your why. I like to say questions are the answers. So have a listen. I know that you will take some value out of this, and have a wonderful day.
Okay, I'm here with my Australia friend, Fatima Ingles. She is an entrepreneur, boss babe extraordinaire. She's built an empire for herself. She's got a great story to share. I'm so thrilled to be here with you. I'm going to be doing this in a bit of an interviewing style here. I just want to expose your tasty goodness to the rest of us Americans, those that are out there that are seeking their inner entrepreneur. You are not going to learn better than from this woman right here. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching. We are on a previously recorded video here because we wanted to save the best of Miss Fatima here for you guys and want it to be in its entirety. So, okay, hi, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me and that wonderful introduction and all that enthusiasm.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
You're absolutely worthy.
Okay, well, thanks. I'm so happy to be here with you. So guys, real quick backstory. Many of you know that I lead a really wonderful health and nutrition organization, Team New Awakening. We share and connect people to nutrition systems from almost 17 different countries now. I'm so proud of the work that we've done and the great people behind it. We're changing lives. It's the ultimate entrepreneur that is driving our team, that person that's looking for more out of themselves, wants to build a business full of passion, changing lives and health and wellness and developing community. It's so cool. All right. So anyway, I had just the blessing to just stumble upon your profile one day on social media, and I got connected to Fatima here, and I was like, oh my God, this girl, super cool, super, amazing, everything, the content you were posting, great workouts, healthy nutrition. You just got the best, brightest personality of anybody. I mean, guys, just look at her. I look like this dopey old guy, and then you've got like this nice, perfect glow and perfect smile. You should be doing like toothpaste commercials or something, but no, instead you've built this super incredible brand of yours. I think just to say the least, she's built this wonderful brand, and obviously you're completely connected to the health and fitness world. Your workouts are outstanding, your nutrition and what you're sharing, and just your bright energy. It's very empowering, and you've built this incredible business for yourself and this brand. And you're just basically the ultimate entrepreneur. You've got a podcast coming out. We were talking about books. I mean, you just kind of do it all. You're just one of those, like, you're like Oprah, basically. It's just like, what else? What are you not doing? Martha Stewart, same thing. It's just like, oh my gosh. So I was like, all right, I couldn't get Oprah on the call tonight, but damn it, I'm pretty happy to have you here. So I'm just here to show you off. And for those fellow entrepreneurs, the people who are just starting to take off their business, discover themselves, you're starting to run into some of those obstacles. And Fatima, you know what this is all about, where you have this dream, you've got this vision for yourself and what you want to do. And then all of a sudden you just start hitting roadblocks, or there's things and turns that you weren't expecting, whether they're financial or just, let's just say, a world that likes to say no to you, to your face. And how do you overcome that? And if you don't mind just sharing your story and what you're all about, so many people, I know I'm speaking for us Americans, would love to just hear more of how did you get to where you are and what you're doing with regard to building your brand and being just what I'm going to go ahead and say is the ultimate entrepreneur extraordinaire.
Thank you for all of that, Chris. I am so honoured and blessed to have the opportunity to speak with you and with your audience, and all those wonderful things you said about me. I really, really appreciate all of that. I don't know if it's all true, but let's run with it.
You're thinking real well then.
A little bit about my story. I am a widowed mum of 3 boys. So growing up, I guess it was just, go to school, you should go to uni, get a good job, work 9 to 5, all that sort of stuff that's fed into us. But I was never quite satisfied. I did build a construction business with my husband. Then he committed suicide, coming on 10 years ago now. So I was found in a really messed up place, I guess, emotionally and financially. I hadn't protected myself. I wasn't savvy. So I've learned a lot of lessons around that. But I packed up and moved with my children and decided, after what had happened, the most precious thing was life and living with purpose and passion, instead of just going from day 1 to day 2 to day 3 in and out and not actually living life with purpose and passion. So I don't know when it was, but I made a promise to myself that I wasn't going to be a victim, and I was going to learn to take control of everything that was happening in my life. And that required taking responsibility for exactly where I was. And that was hard. That was really hard, having to take responsibility. But if you want to move from where you are now to a different place, even if you don't know where that place is, you need to take responsibility for where you are and all the steps that you're going to take. So
everyone should be taking notes. Everything you're saying right now is just beautiful. Yes, sorry, I'm excited. Just amazing.
Okay. Personal development was absolutely number one key. I think first, when I decided I wanted to get rid of all the negative thoughts, because there's so much negativity around, and with everything I was going through on a mental level, depression and all that sort of stuff, I decided to just Google, positive thinking, because there was a lot of negative thinking going on. I found an audio book, I think it was The Power of Positive Thinking or something like that, by Norman Vincent Peale. He was like a really old guy, and that was the first piece of personal development that I listened to. And from there, it was Tony Robbins and reading and listening when I was driving. I was just putting all of this stuff into my head because it was so different to the way I had grown up and everything that had been fed into my mind. So that was the number one step. It's what you surround yourself with, and turning off your news. It's such a simple thing. There is so much negativity with news and people who are sometimes well-intentioned, like your family and friends. They sometimes mean well, but if you're trying to move from where you've always been to somewhere else, especially on the entrepreneur journey, your friends and family aren't always going to understand what you're trying to do. So you've got to be really careful about who you allow to sort of infiltrate what's going on in here.
I love that you said that. And just because I'm a straight shooter, I'm not afraid to tell you that it's often your friends and family, the closest people to you, that are going to be the first to doubt you in what you're doing if it doesn't fall in the confines of this idea of what's supposed to be, and you just put it, the typical 9 to 5 that so many of us are brought up to live. Whenever you step outside that and do something a little different, maybe something that people around you, even the ones that care about you, just don't understand, it's so important to have that thick skin and to know yourself well enough to power through that immediate rejection. And let's just be honest, that's going to come from the people who are experiencing what you're doing firsthand, and they were there at the beginning. Again, this could be sad to say, your significant other. This could be a parent or a close friend. And it's going to be fear disguised as practicality coming from them. And that's so great that you had that strength, that knowing of who you were, to just keep pressing through that. It's such an amazing point to make for so many of those newer entrepreneurs out there that are starting to, again, you're going to see it on day one. You're going to run into roadblocks, and it's just going to be a matter of, well, what am I going to do with that? In my organization, we share nutrition systems that help people change their lives and give them an opportunity to share that experience themselves, right? What happens, though, is the person who doesn't know themselves and isn't confident in both the product or the company or the business opportunity, or just, again, themselves, they're going to get that first no, and that second no, somebody that didn't just see, they didn't grab onto the vision in the same way. And a person who doesn't have that confidence in themselves, they're basically just going to go home with their tail between their legs, because they didn't have that, that ability to see past that initial rejection. So that's amazing that you brought that up. What other obstacles, since we're on that aspect of our conversation, what are some of the other things that when you first started this journey, which, by the way, is just one of the most incredible stories. I mean, it's just, I'm so grateful you're here. What are some of the early things, the roadblocks, other things that you might have encountered when you were kind of getting things off the ground, whether it was money or time, or how do I fit this into my schedule? What obstacles did you have?
Yeah, it was absolutely all of those. There was a lot of fear, obviously a lot of limiting beliefs, and you talked about getting your first no. If you go into whatever it is you're going to do, first, I'll take a step back. First, you really need to connect with why, because sometimes we like the idea of doing something. Like, you might like the idea of becoming a fighter. I'll use an example that I had. I like Muay Thai training, and I like the idea of having a real life fight. But the reality was, my why wasn't big enough for me to put in all the effort and all the work that was required to achieve that. So you've got to be honest with yourself about that. So questions really are the answers. Sometimes we don't know the questions to ask ourselves to get the answers out of us. So someone like yourself can speak to someone and ask them the questions and go, what is it that you want? Help pull the information out of you, because it is absolutely inside of you. Secondly, confidence is tough. Sometimes it's hard to get that first no, to get that first rejection, and overcoming those limitations is one of the biggest things that you have to do. My advice is just keep going. Each no, you're closer to your next yes. And if you've got a growth mindset, you're going to continue to learn about it while you're still working on your mind, because you need to keep working on those limitations that you've got. So if you fall down, as long as you get back up, it's okay. After Monday comes Tuesday, after Tuesday's Wednesday, then Thursday and Friday, so on. You've always got another opportunity. But if you're not connected to the reason why you really want to do something, why you want to go on this entrepreneur journey, why you're wanting financial freedom or health or whatever it is, then it's going to make it harder for you to get up and keep going and keep not getting knocked down with those no's and coming back for more. You get stronger, you build resilience, and you build confidence from that. And there's no shortcut to that. You just have to do it. But it does get easier. You've got to push through what's known as a terror barrier. So you're building yourself up, and then you hit this terror barrier. It's like this wall, and you're like, okay, I can keep going and push through. This is a fear, or I can turn around and go back. So you brought yourself all the way up here. Don't turn around and go back. Push through. Some of the times I have had so much fear, and you probably would have experienced similar. I pushed through and then realised that I basically felt like I was on a baseball pitch. I got up. I'd come in for the home run. I'd got up. Once I pushed through that wall, dusted myself off, all the dust settled, and went, oh, that wasn't so bad. I'm okay. I'm still alive. Nothing terrible happened for me pushing through that fear. So a strategy that helped me a lot through life and a lot of my clients is, what's the worst that can happen? What is the worst that can happen? And if you are okay with the worst that can happen, then that makes it easier to take that step and move forward. So I know I've digressed a little bit because you asked me about obstacles like financial and time and all of that. So I'll go back and address that now. Yes, I have come across those obstacles and always do. Being a mum of 3 boys on my own, that's just life. But it's finding ways to do things for no extra time. So again, working on your mind, because if you work on your mind, that's going to help with everything else you do, with sticking to it and with doing it successfully. And you can do that while you're in the shower. You can listen to audiobooks and podcasts while you're driving, while you're walking. Walking is great because your body's being active, so you're more likely to retain what's going into your mind, and you're doing it for no extra time. So it's how do you fit more in? My kids have listened to so much in terms of personal development, and I want them to, but I've done it by putting it on in the car on the drive from home to school because I want to listen to it. I want them to have the benefits of listening to it. So I'm starting to work on their mindsets from an early age. So if legacy is important to you, then that's something else that just whatever you're doing will flow onto your family and the people around you.
It's a beautiful point you brought up. In fact, I gave a team call on it just the other day about making time, right? So many people that are starting something in the entrepreneurship world, right? Many of us still have other occupations. You know, you might be a banker, but you have this secret hope to build something like you in the fitness world, or do this or do that. And a lot of people, unfortunately, they kind of fall back because they say, oh, I don't have enough time to do that. Or, oh, there's just not enough. I'm too busy. I got this and I got that. They often find themselves making up excuses. But what you brought up was so beautiful because you just found in the pockets of free time that you had, you still made it work. And you did it in a very clever way. If you're washing dishes, you might as well listen to a podcast. If you're just, getting ready, or you just get out of the shower, you're getting dressed, why not put a video in the background and kind of help educate yourself on whatever it is you're doing. There's always little opportunities and little pieces of time, and it's amazing what you actually can get done. And we talk about that regularly. I'm so glad that you brought that up.
Super important and super effective.
How important here, I'm just kind of like, I'm trying to get as much in as we can here. I have so many great questions to ask you, but how important is the branding side? Discovering what your brand was, taking the time to stop and think what that is. And when people, say your name, they say, Fatima, what's the first thing that you want them to think and see, and how important was that in establishing your business?
I think you have to be very true to yourself, but so many people really don't know who they are and what their actual beliefs are. They're just beliefs that have been passed on. Often couples will come together and they will sort of mold into each other and not really be clear on who they are and what they want to be. So something I do with clients, I even do this with my sons as well. Who do you want to be? Who do you look up to? Who do you admire? Because if there's something or someone that you admire, then there's got to be qualities within them that you are resonating with. So I'm a huge fan of I am statements, not when I do this or when I become. I am. On the daily, I am confident. I am vibrant. I am energetic. I am a successful ABC, keynote speaker or entrepreneur earning so much, or I am the owner of ABC, and say it with conviction. But firstly, you need to dig deep and work out, who are you? What do you stand for? What do you believe in, morally and ethically? Because that is so important to your brand. So it's getting in touch with yourself and knowing what you stand for at the core. So through my last 10 years, I had a little bit of an issue. I like shiny things. So I'd be like, great, this is a great idea that someone's presented. I'll do that and this and the other. And I was spreading myself really, really thin in trying to have various income streams. I was trying to do too many things and then not being able to do them particularly well.
That's the jack of all trades, the master of none.
Exactly. And that was me. I was so passionate about everything to do with health and fitness, and I just thought I could do it all, and I couldn't. So I had to really dig deep and get clear on, who am I? What do I want to do in this world? How do I want to be remembered, not from a egotistical point of view, but from a serving point of view?
Seeing very clearly the vision you have for yourself and where you're going. And that's got to be done so specifically. It cannot be general. That's beautiful. I love that you brought that up too. So many of us go out into the entrepreneurship world, and again, we just think, oh, I'll do this, and then I'll do that, and oh, I can do this, and I'll just say I do that, and next thing you know, you're just so scattered. No one really can keep up with what you are and what you do. They're just lost. So honing in on the skills that you have and leveraging them to produce a product or a message that's clear and specific, that's so important for that inner entrepreneur. For anyone watching this again, if you haven't really dug deep, you need to ask yourself, and you brought this up beautifully, what is my why? What's driving me here? Work from that inside place and then let it develop externally. But you got to know what's driving you from the inside, and that's just going to be reflected in the vision you have and how clear you are with it.
Yeah. It's a really great exercise, Chris, to just sit down with a piece of paper and map this out. Ask yourself all these questions. And some people actually find it really hard to work out, what do I stand for? What am I? Mm-hmm. So you might have to work the other way around if you're really stuck and go, what do I not want to be? What am I not? To work out what you are. And you can evolve just because, you like certain traits and things at one point in your life. As you grow and evolve, this may change, but the core of it will stay the same. So
we're going to go ahead and wrap things up here in the next few moments. I want to end with a couple closing questions. So was it worth it? We talked about building the lifestyle you have, and look, just like you, just like me, just like any entrepreneur, the journey continues, and we're always looking to go to the next step and evolve. Speaking of what you just said, was it worth it? Is it okay to say, hey, I'm going to create something for myself. I'm not going to fall into the same patterns that were expected of me. And what does your life look like right now? Working for yourself, what does that bring to your heart? What does that do for your soul? And how do you feel? You certainly look great to us on the outside, but what is that feeling like of just driving through this vision of this life you have for yourself, and being brave enough to commit to it, and then looking out on the other side and watching it really start to develop into something? For those people that are out there that are questioning, whether they should take that step toward that life, is it worth it? Should they do it?
1,000%.
Okay.
And I'm not going to lie to you. It has been hard. I have had some really tough financial times. I did work part-time and study, and, once I became a personal trainer, and work part-time at the gym and take my kids to the care early and pick them up in the winter at 9:30 at night some nights. I'm not going to lie, it's not always going to be easy, but it's so worth it. When you dig through the trenches, it's worth it. You can't have a beautiful view from a summit without having the valleys. It just doesn't exist. It's just like a flat line. So it is worth it. It does take a lot of hard work. Personal development is so important. Getting the right people around you, if you can invest in it. Coaching is crucial. I have invested in so much coaching. So many times I didn't know where the money was coming from, but I just knew there was something inside me. I just went, I know I'm meant to be doing something. I know that I am here for a purpose, and there's a plan, and there's something that I'm meant to be doing that's impacting people's lives. So having that belief really helps. I highly recommend one book called Think and Grow Rich. I mean, I've so many books that I love, but Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. For anyone who's not sure, they sort of think they want to do something else with their life, but they're not sure, they've got so much fear, read that book. Study that book. Don't try and read it from beginning to end quickly. Study it. There's also audios of the chapter available. Listen to the audio while you're driving or walking, while you're reading, because that will help you to find what your actual purpose is. And it is 1,000% worth it, but it will take hard work, and it will take lots of knocks and getting back up. But I love my life now. It's not like work, Chris. I don't go to work. I go to play.
Literally just got done telling my sister the same thing. It's incredible when you see something really start to, when it starts working, you got to push through those hard times, and it's not pretty. An entrepreneur's life does not start pretty. For any of you that are thinking it's all like Instagram and selfies and all these glamorous moments, it's not. It's grinding and staying out and having to go pick up your kids and then come back home and you've barely got dinner going and you're just grinding up until like the early hours of the morning and blah, blah, blah. It's not an easy life, but on the other side of it, there is something powerful and rewarding about working for yourself and growing something with great people often, and networking with people from the other side of the world. I don't think I'm sitting here working, but I am in a great way. It's an opportunity to work with other entrepreneurs and help share your great message with some of the other leaders of my organization. You're right. It's a wonderful life, isn't it? And it's absolutely worth it. And so that's it, guys. Fatima Ingles, everybody, thank you for joining so much. I'm so excited. I've been wanting to have this conversation with you for the longest time. I'm blessed for your time here from the other side of the planet. I really
beautiful Australia.
And next time, of course, you're in Los Angeles, I do expect we're going to totally go hang out and grab a coffee or something.
Totally catching up.
And I'd even love to do, for those of you that have watched this, and please follow Fatima. It's Fatima, and then her last name, Ingles, Ingles. She is so cool. You've got to follow this girl. She's just the most inspiring person. Follow her on Facebook, Instagram. She's doing it all, podcast, book. She's a speaker. She's just doing it all. And of course, if you're a fitness junkie in the health world, nutrition, it's just amazing the territory you cover and what you offer. I really appreciate the call. And then maybe one day, who knows, I'll be lucky enough to get you on again here, and we'll continue to hear the story. So.
Happy to be here and happy to help any way I can. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for listening to the show. I truly hope you have found it beneficial and have taken some value from it. Hopefully, a lot. If you did, please share this show with anyone you feel may need to hear it. I would also absolutely love if you would take a minute or two to review this show on iTunes, Stitcher, or whichever platform you happen to be listening to it on. With your help, we can accomplish my mission to positively impact 10 million lives. That would be so awesome. Now, if you want to connect with me or my guests on other platforms, or if you want to send me an email with questions or ideas of guests to interview, please check out the show notes. I am so incredibly grateful to have had your time today, and I can't wait to have you on the next episode. Have a great day.